Hey there, my name is Mike Munzing. I'm with Munzing Mortgage Group down here in San Clemente. Each week I make these videos to give you the update of what's going on in the market so you can share with your buyers, let them know what's going on. What a crazy week it's been. I know I talk a lot about those little happy hours I put together. Bring the flyer up on the screen here. This past week, a lot of you caught that. Do you remember that scandal there? Anthony Weiner, how could you miss it? Big national story. Well, the guy that broke that story is Andrew Breitbart. And Andrew Breitbart was my guest speaker this past week. What a crazy, crazy deal that was. Here's Andrew and I together. The fun thing is, this is Channel 4 News. We had 2, 4, 7, 9, and 11 out there, along with lots of papers. It was a fantastic event. How fortunate was that? Just couldn't have picked a better week to have him out there, but he was great. Even got this great shot of my wife and I there in the Newport Beach Golf Course. That's fun. What I want to make sure you know is I'm having more of these events, so listen for them. They are a great time. I hope you can make it. Okay, back to real estate. This week I want to cover 2 reports quickly. Stephen Thomas's housing report for the last couple of weeks, as well as the May foreclosure report. Let's jump into Stephen's real quick. I'll bring that up on the screen. Be sure to go to my website at www.mikemunzing.com. Every couple of weeks I reprint this. I put it on my site so you can download it. You may want to pause this, download it. There's a lot more detail in the report that I'm covering here, that's for sure. I just give you the highlights, but be sure to break that down. Stephen, a couple of days ago, came out with this, and he is saying that, okay, it's kind of strange. He says that last week we hear that we've got a double dip housing drop, and then this week we hear it's a perfect time to buy. The way he breaks it down is it depends on where you're looking and what you're looking for. And as you read through the report, you get a couple of things. Housing prices are really low right now. You've got the combination as well of low interest rates, and they are hanging in there for another week, looking good. And finally, if you're buying an investment purchase, rents are poised to jump up. He goes into a lot of detail as to why that is. So print the report, go over that. Next is the housing demand, and Stephen looks at that as how many properties are currently in escrow. That's how he judges demand. They're currently in escrow, and that rose just slightly over the last couple of weeks. Next, he covers the actual listing inventory, and that is almost flat from the previous two-week mark. Every couple of weeks he does these numbers. And finally, there has been just ever so slight of an increase in the distress sales, the distress market actually, the short sales and the foreclosures. So you can see that. One thing you may want to do too is when you print the report, dig into the charts in the back, really breaks the numbers down into detail so you can nail down the farm, the area that you work, the sellers and buyers that you work with. You can really see it, really break it down. It'll help you, know that market very, very well. Okay, now I want to jump into the foreclosure report for the month of May. For last month, basically, we're going to look those numbers over here. Sean O'Toole with Foreclosure Radar, who I get my information from. You can go to foreclosureradar.com. If you haven't subscribed to that service, if you are trying to sell foreclosures to investors, it's a source you absolutely have to have. So what does Sean say? Basically, it looks as though the third-party sellers, those who have bought the properties from the banks, from the steps, those investors, they are selling more homes than almost anybody in the market right now. And that could bode well for the market, but he says it's a little too early to tell. But for right now, he says one of the main winners in the whole foreclosure side of the deal is the investors. Those investors that can come in with cash. I know a lot of you work with them. You go down to the steps, you come in with cash, buy cash, and then you fix them up real quick and sell them back on the market. Those folks are selling the homes quite a bit. As Sean says, he says the slowing foreclosure process has left fewer affordable homes for sale. Foreclosure investors, as I said, may be the only winner so far, benefiting from being able to resell homes purchased at foreclosure auction a little more quickly than some of the others. Now, we're not seeing these banks bringing these homes back on the market quite as quickly, and obviously we know what hell these short sales are. Heard about a 14-month one the other day. It's just such a nightmare. So print that report. Once again, I'm having it up on the screen here. Print that report, go through it in detail. What I'd like to do now is go through the charts so you can see each of the different stages and where they are for the month of May. First, I want to look at the notice of default properties. The properties that have had a filing of notice of default, and that has dipped only about 4% down to 20,185 properties. You can see it last couple of months down a little bit. Next are the properties that have the filing of the notice of trustee sale, and that was leveling off a bit and jumped about 16.5% this last month to 25,564 properties. Now, once they've had the filings and then they go to sale, number of things happen. Either it goes back to the bank. Now, this is the properties that go back to the bank. No investor comes in and buys the property. So you can see that that's been jumping up and down each month, almost flat at 3.42 increase this last month. Very little difference from the month before. And that is at 11,736 properties here. Now, another option we mentioned before is when that property goes back, or actually, excuse me, when that property sells to an investor, third-party buyer, and that is headed upward overall in the last few months, leveled off a little, only up 4.14% here at a level of 3,701 properties. Once again, this is only for California, but at least it lets us know kind of what's going on for the state. Now, we hit the properties that have been canceled. That's that third option. Either it sells to the bank, sells to a third party, or the lenders cancel. Maybe a loan modification went through, something worked out. And for this area, it is at 14,002 properties, and that is down substantially, 24.28% drop on that, but quite a drastic move on that chart. And now we hit three different overall averaging numbers that I like to cover. The pre-foreclosure properties. Now this chart has been a slight decline of the overall inventory at 117,000 properties. It is down just at about 5%, but it's been a slow decline over the last number of months. And those are the ones that have the notice of trustee or notice of default filed, so they're pre-foreclosure. Next would be the properties have had the notice of trustee sale filed on it, and that also has been declining the last few months to 107,000 properties. That is down just about 2%. And finally, the properties have been taken back by the bank, the overall inventory that still need to be sold, ballpark of about 111,000 properties, and that is pretty much dead on flat from the previous month. Hopefully we'll start seeing some of those properties coming out for our buyers. But very interesting numbers. Hasn't been a ton of activity on the foreclosure side of things. I know these banks continue to seem to not have a clear direction, but let's hope we start getting some definitive moves here. Hopefully to help our buyers settle this market down. I know we, as he's mentioned before, possibility of a double dip. Then on the other side, hey, things are looking good. I know we're all working real hard. It's not a tremendously fun market to be in, but I know you guys are working hard. Those real estate meetings, the broker preview meetings have been packed. I'm proud of you guys all for getting out there and getting out there to see the properties, try to sell those, network with each other. That is fantastic. Hey, once again, my name is Mike Munzing. I've been out here 21 years. I would love to work with you. I'd love to work with your buyers. I'm still a broker. No, the broker business isn't over yet, and we're doing great. Hooked up with a lot of investors. Gives you a lot more options than the direct lenders, so a broker is still a good way to go. I'd love for you to call me. I'm at 949-689-5626. I'm always working on finding good programs get together for you. Go to my website, lots of tools, lots of tips, lots of good stuff there. Let's work together. God bless you. God bless your family. And as always, God bless our country. Let's make this a great weekend. I'll be working. I'm here for you. Bye-bye.